Hi guys, it's Diane here from Crochet with Diane. I hope you're all doing well. Well, it's February and the days are still cold, so in today's video I wanted to share with you how I crocheted this jumper. It's an oversized style with a beautiful wide bell-shaped sleeves. It's soft and warm and very cozy and comfortable to wear. The stitch pattern I've used creates a knit look to the fabric, which I love. The neck, cuffs and bottom of the jumper have a great ribbing, which I think finishes off the jumper just lovely. This is part one of a two-part series, as I've tried to go into as much detail as possible and walk you through step by step how to crochet this jumper, so as to make it easy for you to follow along. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, I just wanted to show you this beautiful wool that I found. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a cream colour with some flecks of browns and creams and dark browns, and this is what the jumper is. I've made the jumper with. And it's called the Women's Institute Soft and Smooth Tweed, and it's 400 grams in each skein of yarn. It's an Aran weight yarn, and let's have a look. Does recommend that we use a 5mm crochet hook, but today I'm going to be using, you can see that, an 8mm hook, and this is going to give a beautiful texture, loose knit look, texture to the jumper, which is just going to be so cozy and smooth and soft and snuggly. So without further ado, let's get started on the jumper. So first of all, make your slip knot and put in your hook. Now we are going to chain for this. If you're following along this exact pattern, it's a foundation chain of 80. So carry on along now, make your foundation chain of 80. Okay, so we've made a foundation chain of 80, and just so you can have an idea of how long that is, this is the measurement from the top of your shoulder to the length that you want your jumper. So I think if we bring the camera out a little more. So this measures, slide this down so you can see, 28 inches, and this is actually, I wanted my jumper to be nice and long, and this is before we put the ribbing border on the end. Okay, so you chain the amount you need for the length that you want from your shoulder, top of your shoulder, down to the length that you want your jumper to be before you're adding the cuff, the ribbing bottom of the jumper. So you've chained 80 and then you plus 2. Now bring the camera back in. So row 1. So we're going to half double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So yarn over, count 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's squiggly. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you hook through both legs of that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. And there's your first half double crochet. Now we're going to half double crochet in every stitch along your foundation chain. So yarn over, find your very next stitch, which is here, put your hook through, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Again, yarn over into the next stitch, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, find your next stitch, push your hook through, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So now you're going to continue along the entire length of your foundation chain, putting in 1 half double crochet into each stitch. And I'll pause the video here and meet you when we're coming towards the end of the foundation row. So you've come to the end of your foundation chain, putting in half double crochet in every stitch. So we'll just finish off this row, put in half double crochet there, and into the last stitch. A little bit tricky on that last stitch there, just make sure you go through both legs of the stitch and make your last stitch there. So there is your very long row of half double crochet. So row 2, we're going to chain 2 and turn your work. Now for this stitch, we're going to work in the 3rd leg of each stitch. Now what I mean by that is, normally if you take a look at the top here, you've got your V's of each stitch, and normally we would work into there. But if you look at the front of your work, you've got a little stitch here which is going a little bit diagonally, and there and there. So they call this the 3rd leg of the stitch. So you've got your back loop there, front loop there, and then there's the 3rd loop there. So we're going to be in this row, we're going to be working into this stitch here all the way along. So let me show you. And we're doing, again, it's half double crochet. This whole pattern is pretty much half double crochet. So yarn over and straight into that first one. Put your hook through that first stitch there. Yarn over like normal and pull up a loop. And then you've got three loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3. And let's do that again. Yarn over, and if you look, we're not going in this one, we're not going in this one. Sorry, we're not going in this one, or that's the back loop, that's the front loop. We're going into this one here. So I hope that seems clearer. I'll show you again. So if you look at the top, you've got your normal stitches at the top. If you look from the front, you've got this stitch here. So we're working into that stitch there. After a few times, you'll almost certainly get the hang of it. Put in a half double crochet in there. And again, in this diagonal stitch there, put the hook through, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Now we're going to continue along this row, putting in a half double crochet into that 3rd leg of the stitch. I'll just show you one more time. So you've got your normal V of the normal stitch there, back loop, front loop, look from the side, and you've got this diagonal leg there. Put your hook in there, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. So I'll pause the video here, and I want you to continue along the rest of this row, putting in a half double crochet into each of these diagonal stitches, and we'll meet back when we get to the end of the row. Okay, so we're coming to the end of row 2 and just need to work the last couple of stitches. And when you come to the turning chain, we just pop a double crochet, half double crochet into the top of that next stitch. So half double crochet, and this time, just to make the edges secure, pop it through the top of the stitch as normal. So there you have end of row 2. And if you turn this over, you'll see the effect of working into that third leg is a beautiful texture of stitch here. So let's get some more yarn. We're going to work row 3, which is slightly different. So chain 2, and turn your work. Now this is the front of your work now, and you can see this beautiful texture of stitch happening here. Now on row 3, again, half double crochet, so yarn over, and we're going to work into the back loop only. So half yarn over, put your hook through the back loop there, yarn over, pull through all 3. And you can see that is creating this beautiful texture stitch. So yarn over, hook through into the back loop of the next stitch, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and off we go with row 3. Is we put in 1 half double crochet into the back loop only, of each and every stitch along row 3. So I'll just show you one more time. Yarn over, look at the top of your work here, and this is the back loop. Hook in there, pull up your yarn, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. So you just look at your work, look at the work there. You've got beautiful texture using this particular stitch. So continue now on row 3 all the way to the end, and I'll meet you when we get to here. Okay, so here we are at the end of row 3. I'll just finish up these last couple of stitches. Half double crochet into the back loop only. And here's your turning chain. Just put a half double crochet into the stitch normally. That's the top 2 bars of the stitch, and make a half double crochet in there, and that is the end of row 3. The pattern is starting to take shape, and now the pattern repeat now is row 2 and 3 for the whole front section of this jumper. I'll show you how to start row 2, so chain 2 and turn your work. So we're back to doing a half double crochet into this third leg of the stitch. So yarn over, put your hook through there, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. So we're going again, this is the repeat of row 2, yarn over, hook into that third leg of the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. So this is the pattern repeat. Repeat rows 2 and 3. If you want to rewind this video until you're familiar with the stitch, which won't take long, it's a very simple stitch. You'll soon get the hang of it. And, oh, oops, sorry, I just bashed the camera. Continue now repeating rows 2 and 3 and keep going. And next I will show you how to measure for how many rows you're going to need to make. Okay, so for the measurements of your jumper on the width, you need to take a tape measure and measure you've got the curve of your shoulder here, and I want to measure from here to here, to the edge of the curve of your shoulder here. So the width of our jumper is going to be across here, and then obviously from here we're going to attach the sleeves. So measure from here to get your measurement, and that's how many rows you're going to do, is that measurement there. If you're following the pattern, my measurements is 24 inches. So, and it's actually worked out quite well as to, it's actually been 100 rows exactly is as how wide I want to do mine. So I'll just quickly show you one panel finished. Okay, so here is one panel of your jumper complete. So this width is from the shoulder, edge of the end of the shoulder, and this is the length of your jumper. So that is your one panel, front or back, they're both exactly the same. So go ahead now and make another panel exactly the same. Okay, so I've made another panel exactly the same. So you can lay it across the top of your other panel just to make sure make sure it's exactly the same amount of rows that way and the same amount of stitches in length, and you should be good to go. This is the outside, the right side. When we sew them together, we'll sew them together inside out. But that's the two panels now of the jumper. So now all we need to do is get started on the sleeves. Okay, just very quickly before I show you how to start the sleeve, to get the measurement of your sleeve, for the length of your sleeve, the body of your jumper is going to come to about here. So measure along here to about here, to where you want to start the ribbing for the cuff. So this measurement here. And also measure around the widest part of your arm. On me, it's here. And then add, it depends how loose you want the jumper. I've added 2 extra inches on top of the widest part, measure around the arm, and then add 1 or 2, or none at all if you want it to fit snug. But measure around, and that will give you how many rows you need to do. So that's how you measure how to do this, the size of the sleeves. Now let's start the sleeves. Okay, to start the sleeves, make a slip knot. And what you're going to do is chain a length, your foundation chain, to the length of your measurement that you just took for the length of the sleeve of your arm. In my case, it's actually 55 chains, and then when you've got to the length of your sleeve that you want it to be before the ribbing of your sleeve, and then you add 2. So in my case, I'm going to chain 55 plus 2. That's 10. By the way, we're using the same size hook. That's the 8mm hook that we use for the body of the jumper. So go ahead now and crochet your foundation chain to the length that you want your sleeve. Okay, so I've made my foundation chain for the sleeve, and that is going to be the length of my sleeve before we do the ribbing. So now we always then add 2. So for row 1, we're going to half double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over and put your hook in there. Pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And then we're going to half double crochet in every stitch along your foundation chain. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and again So we are one half double crochet in each and every stitch along your foundation chain. So carry on doing that, and I will meet you at the end of this row. So here we are at the end of row 1, just finishing up there with a half double crochet. So you've put in a half double crochet in every stitch. Now the pattern for the sleeve is exactly the same. Oh, that one's been a little bit awkward there. The pattern for the sleeve is exactly the same as the pattern that you've just done for the body of the jumper. So what we do now is chain 2 and turn your work. And we are going to half double crochet. And if you remember, we've got 1, 2, and then there's that third leg of the stitch. And we half double crochet into this third leg of the stitch, and we do a half double crochet in there. This is for row 2. So, and again, yarn over, put your hook into that third leg. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and put your hook into that third leg of the stitch and make a half double crochet. So we're going to do that in every stitch all the way along here. So finish this row now, putting in a half double crochet into that third leg of the stitch all the way along. So coming to the end of row 2, so just want to make sure this is your turning chain. So do a half double crochet into both legs of that turning chain to make your last stitch. Then we chain 2 and turn. So on to row 3. We're going to half double crochet into the back loop only of every stitch. So yarn over, put your hook into that very back loop of this first stitch, half double crochet, and again in the next, half double crochet. So row 3 is half double crochet into the back loop only of every stitch along the row. So continue to do that, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, coming to the end of row 3, we're putting in the half double crochet into the back loop only, and the last few stitches there, and here we'll put the stitch through both legs of that last stitch there. Okay, so, and then chain 2 and turn your work, ready for the next row, and it is the 2-row repeat, so you've got this nice knit effect happening. So the next row would be half double crochet into this 3rd leg. So that's your 2-row repeat. So continue to crochet now. If you measured around your arm at the widest point, for example, if your measurement was 10 inches and then you wanted it nice and loose, so you added 2 inches, you would then therefore keep crocheting row after row until your width of your sleeve reaches 12 inches. So keep going, and I'll meet you when you've finished your sleeve, and I'll show you how to do the ribbing. Okay, here's what your sleeve should look like when you've finished crocheting to the length that you want your sleeve, and mine has worked out at 16 inches, so that when we fold it over, that is the width of your sleeve. And I've made mine nice and loose. This is 8 inches across, because I wanted I don't want a snug fit jumper. It's going to be a loose, oversized style. So there, once you finish the first sleeve, go ahead and make a second one exactly the same. So you'll have your 2 sleeves exactly the same amount of stitches and the same amount of rows. So this is 16 inches this way as well. So there are your 2 sleeves. So go ahead and make your second sleeve, and what we're going to do next after your sleeve is grab the back and front panel, and we will do the ribbing on the bottom. So I hope you enjoyed part 1 of this tutorial, and I'll be uploading part 2, which will be completing this beautiful cozy jumper. And take care for now, and I'll see you next time.